Good morning, I'm Ed Pozzuoli, President Tripp Scott, and we have another webcast for you today. We're honored to have Senator Chris Smith. Senator, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into what your future plans are, talk to me a little bit about the last legislative session and some of the things you saw as highlights.
Well, I think the last session was exactly how government should work and how we should work. It was a lot of compromise. As you know, the governor came in with a big tax package. I mean, he wanted $1 billion. The House was a little lower than that, and the Senate was much lower than that. And through negotiating, and all parties were involved. I mean, I can say it's Democrats in the Senate. We were heavily involved in that package. You saw a lot of compromise and working together, and we were able to come out with a tax package that I think everyone could be proud of. We had our tax-free holidays. We had some manufacturing tax breaks, but it was a manageable tax package so that we were still able to fund a lot of things in the state that needed to be funded.
So Floridians could be proud their state government and the legislative process actually works.
It actually worked. I mean, you had some good people, leading the chambers. I think Andy Gardner, as a Senate president, empowered a lot of the senators to do work, and I think the House came along. There's a lot of things I wanted done, a lot of things I really wanted done during my years, but somehow in Tallahassee, we've been able to get at least to a point where everyone can leave a little happy and a little mad.
Other than the tax issue, what else happened up there for our folks watching?
Well, there were a couple of issues. We dealt with some environmental issues, and we started dealing with the springs issues. But now we see with algae, that's going to be the big issue.
That's going to be
now.
The big issue, yeah.
Yeah, but and I think all of that is kind of tied together. When you talk about the septic tanks up in the Fort Pierce area, and you talk about the runoff and everything, I think it all ties in together. So what the algae is going to do is put a laser focus on doing something about that region of the state and about water policy in that region of the state. But we were at least able to start that conversation, start about cleaning up the water in that area because it, as you know, it flows down to South Florida.
And on education, I understand that they did pass a nice sizable budget, an increase for public education.
Yeah, there was an increase for public education, but also we were able to get away from, with the original tax package, it would have actually been we'd have been raising taxes on education because it would have been more of a local contribution, and that would have hit us locally. So by not doing the big tax break, we were able to keep education funded and not raise taxes locally for the local contribution. I think we're headed down the road of revisiting the end-all stakes, the high-stakes testing that we have in schools. I think we're headed down that road. There was a lot of discussion of that this year. I think we still should do testing in schools and have some measurables, but I think we're rolling back a little bit from the high-stakes end-all tests. So we saw some movement on that this year.
And I understand you saw some movement on providing parents the ability to go to pretty much any school
Yes.
in the state.
Yes, and I think that's important. I think people should have a choice. And part of that choice are charter schools. I think we've seen some good legislation on it. I mean, we have some phenomenal charter schools out there, and there's some that aren't good. And I think we're making that distinction. And I know some of the charter schools, like the larger ones, they want to make sure that there is significant regulation so that they're not dragged down by those that are not doing it the right way. I mean, we have some great ones. Close to here, Charter USA. I mean, they do a great job, and you see them doing a good job. And so we're kind of modeling legislation based on what they're doing so that some of the bad actors do not drag them down.
That's a good idea for all concerned, for students mostly.
Yes.
Now, Senator Smith, what does the future hold for you? I believe you're termed out.
Yes.
And what does your future hold?
At the rightful old age of 46, I'm
You're
termed out of the House and
what are you
the
going to
Senate.
do?
I mean, I'm put out the pasture. Well, I was born and raised in Broward County. I grew up in these streets of Broward County, and being in Tallahassee, I've worked on big ticket items. I've worked at the big items. When you talk about SHIP funding for affordable housing, I've worked on making sure that those funds aren't swept and they're getting down to local communities. And I've fought for education dollars to get down to local communities. But now when I look at the local community, I still see a lot of the things that we've been sitting down aren't being done adequately. I still see in my community the lack of how affordable houses I mean, we've worked on affordable housing, but I think houses, there's a lot of vacant properties and a lot of opportunities to build houses. There's some transportation issues that need to be handled. And so I don't think it's being adequately done. And so I'm running for county commission now in Broward County.
Wow.
To try and at least get the county to do the right thing on some of these issues that I think they haven't been able to come together on.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the priorities. You mentioned affordable housing, and you mentioned transportation. Given, let's say, 4 years from now, what do you hope to accomplish on the county commission with those two issues?
Well, the first thing I want to accomplish is getting the county commission to work together. And I think this is the unique skill set I bring. I'm able to bring people together, work with different groups, work with Republicans, work with Democrats, work with everybody to get stuff done. And when you look at the Broward Commission, you see a lot of fractures, and I mean, you see a lot of delays and things. I mean, we can't get a hotel at the port, for years. The courthouse was delayed, the airport was delayed, because there seems to be a lot of fractures. So the first thing I want to do is use this skill set and work with other commissioners to say, okay, guys, let's be a team. Let's work together and get some of this stuff done and stop the constant bickering. And through that, we'll be able to get stuff done, like get more houses built in the immediate district.
Right.
Get some light synchronization on some of our major streets. I mean, we don't have synchronized lights on the major east-west thoroughfares. We don't have that. And get some economic development, develop ways that small businesses can access capital. And possibly one idea that I've seen in other communities is a business incubator, in which small businesses are housed together and they grow together and then move out and constantly get development ideas as they are together. So in 4 years after me being elected, if I got a business incubator and I've had 10, 12 businesses move in and move out and stop going, and if I have 300 more houses, affordable houses in the community, if I can go down Sunrise Boulevard without stopping every quarter of a mile and sitting there in traffic, I think it'll be a success.
Well, those businesses that you're talking about, potentially, they also bring employment.
Yes, definitely. I've seen too many small businesses as a lawyer that's helped small businesses, and actually I own a plaza, and I've seen too many businesses come in and fail through not really being able to function as a business. And so as you get these businesses in an incubator, they'll have monthly meetings on, business finance, on marketing, on inventory.
Make sure they have the skill set.
Right. Giving them that skill set and helping them, I think, will help in this.
Increases the probability of success, and they can grow and prosper and employ others. Right?
Definitely.
That would be the idea.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let our folks know when is that election, Chris?
It's a primary election. It's there's no Republican in the race. It's a Democratic primary, August the 30th.
August 30th. It's an odd date. That's why I want to mention it, right?
But I keep talking August 20th. That's early voting. And actually, ballots go out. I think they should be hitting the 1st of August.
Right.
And it's amazing. More people are doing vote by mail that are going to the polls than early voting.
So we're clear with folks that for the August 30th election,
yes.
So you have the opportunity to vote by mail.
Vote by mail.
And that actually, you can do that effective starting, I think, the first week of August.
Yes.
Then 10 days before the election time, you have early voting sites that Dr. Snipes is going to set up around the county that you can vote basically in any of those sites, regardless of your district.
Yes.
Starting 10 days, so August 20th.
Yes. You
can start to vote. And then August 30th is election day.
Election day.
For the primary.
For the primary.
Okay. I want to make sure, because it's such an odd date. And with kids going back to school, sometimes people forget that that's election day.
And the one thing about the local elections that I try to get to people is, we all think, governor's election, I got to go out. Presidential, we got to go out. But you get judges elected. Right. You get school board members elected. You get city commissioners elected. I mean, there are a lot of people that directly affect your life.
Well, the county commission
every day. Yeah,
the county commission is a pretty influential body in Broward County. So
and so we try to get people, don't wait for the presidential to come out. Don't wait for just the gubernatorial to come out. Come out on some of these races that people that affect you a little closer than those big elections. Come out and vote those days.
Couldn't agree more. Well, Senator, I really do appreciate the time. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me here again.
All right. Thank you very much.